hearts again. Increase in us, we pray. Unveil why we're made. Come set our hearts ablaze with hope, like wildfire in our very souls. Holy Spirit, come, invade us now. We are your church. We need your power in us. We seek your kingdom first. We come
Wow, I'm swinging the mic around. That's incredible. Wow. All right, let's do that again. Hi, I'm Pastor Tracy. This is Cornerstone Christian Fellowship. And our purpose statement here is loving God and loving others fearlessly. And I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Yay. Woo. Yay. And it's ironic because today is not Valentine's Day yet here. Because we are pre-recording our service again today. Because lo and behold, we heard there was an ice storm. So once again, we could not do this if there weren't a group that said, yes, I will come in, I will film early. So thank you again to everybody and to the one congregant we have here. Hallelujah. That's sitting in the chair. Thank you. So, I was thinking about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a weird day because there are so many people that celebrate and they love it. But it's like a beacon of oftentimes pain for those who long for that kind of love. And sometimes I wish that this day actually wasn't marked. But the beautiful thing is that God loves us so dearly, and that we are deeply loved. And we're loved so completely that no one can take that away from us. And I was reading this morning, and it said this in Romans 8. And this, of course, is the Passion Translation, which is my favorite. And it says this: God, the searcher of the heart, knows fully our longings. I love that. So if you are out there today and you're thinking to yourself, I just want that partner, or maybe you're in a relationship that's very difficult and one in which you don't feel love. God, the searcher of the heart, knows fully your longing. And God is with you in that longing and loving you deeply in that longing. And then it says this, down in verse 28. So we are convinced that every detail of our lives is continually woven together to fit into God's perfect plan of bringing good into our lives. For we are his lovers, who have been called to fulfill his designed purpose. The bottom line is that we are God's lovers, and that there is a love that God invites us into, and God invites us to open our hearts to be not his Valentine only on February 14th, but on their Valentine 365 days a year. So this morning, my prayer is that we all would open our hearts wide and we would allow ourselves to be loved. And ironically, as I was praying this morning before the service and the masks were on our face, I thought, how many things do we block God from entering in? How many worries or disturbances? So this morning I'm going to say, let's take our masks off and let's fully breathe God's presence and love in and receive that today. Because we are, all of us, God's Valentines today. So let's worship together, church.
You were a lover before time's beginning. You gave your love freely, withholding nothing. Jesus, my Jesus, you carried the weight of the world on your shoulders. You stopped at nothing to prove you were for us. Jesus, It's unthinkable. Only heaven knows just how far you go. To say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us. It's extravagant. It doesn't make sense. We'll never comprehend the way you love us. It's unthinkable. Only heaven knows just how far you go. To say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us. And here is all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. Here is all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. Here is all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. Here is all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. Here is all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. 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 It's extravagant. It doesn't make sense. We'll never comprehend the way you love us. It's unthinkable. Only heaven knows just how far you'd go. To say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us. say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us, you love us.
It's almost an accident that we're singing this song this morning. I had actually completely forgotten that it was Valentine's Day on Sunday. Don't tell my wife. But I just want to take a moment, just follow what Pastor Tracy said. Just take a second to breathe that in and breathe it out. Just accept it if you need it this morning. His love for you is extravagant. And it may not make sense. God knows I often feel like I don't deserve His love, but that's just how it is. It just says here it is. And it's just up to us to take it and accept it and share it. So I just invite you to just sit with us and sing Here Is All My Love again. And sing it as a prayer. If you've got boundless love to give, or if you only have just a little bit, just a drop, just give it all to Him. No conditions.
Here is all my love, it's yours, no conditions. When you pull me close, no, I won't resist it. Here is all my love, it's yours, no conditions. When you pull me close, no, I won't resist it. Here is all my love, it's yours, no conditions. When you pull me close, no, I won't resist it. Here is all my love, it's yours, no conditions. When you pull me close, no, I won't resist it. Here is all my love, it's yours, no conditions. When you pull me close, no, I won't resist it. No, I won't resist it. No, I won't resist your love. No, I won't resist it. And it's extravagant, and it doesn't make sense. We'll never comprehend the way you love us. It's unthinkable, and only heaven knows just how far you go to say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us. You love us. You love us.
Just sing You Love Me.
unthinkable. Only heaven knows just how far you'd go to say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us.
Just breathe it in. Just breathe it in. Just open your arms. Wherever you are at home, just sit. Sit, stand. If you're drinking coffee, you can do one hand, it's fine. God, thank you for bringing your love, for steeping it in us, letting us soak. God, let us just be the essence of your love. God, thank you. And I remember how you found me in that very same place. And all my failings surely would have drowned me.
worthy of our praise, so worthy of everything that we have to offer them. So grateful for God. So this is our time that we will take the offering, and we want to say thank you so very much for pouring into this, pouring into our community, and so we can pour out into the community. Just so grateful for you, for all of your giving, for all your faithful giving. Just want a couple of things. The first thing is, there it is. The first thing is that we want to invite you to continue to pour. If there is any way in which we have poured into you, or that you've been blessed by what you've seen on Facebook Live, or blessed by the ministry here, we invite you to give into it through your tithes, through your offering. The second thing I want to invite you into today is to be able to give into our compassion ministry. Over Christmas time, we gave over, I think, around $8,000 to help people through, to celebrate Christmas, to also for paying electric, paying mortgage, so many ways in which we pour into our community. And that means it needs to be filled up again. And so we invite you to give into that today. We're going to make that announcement for a couple of weeks, because there are real needs. As COVID continues on, there are true needs that our community needs. And so we invite you to give into that. And the compassion and giving into that is usually above the tithe and the offering. I just like to put that in. So just thank you again for your faithfulness to pour into us, because we would not be here if it weren't for you. So thank you for that. And now we have the Reverend Terry Moss, who's going to bring a word to us today. Oh, Terry, Reverend Whitmire. I knew her as Moss. I'm so sorry, Ben, if you're watching this. Whitmire.
It's only been, 5 years?
Yeah, it's only, yeah. And I married them, by the way.
Thank you. Yes. Hi, I'm Reverend Terry Moss Whitmire. To do the sanitization. I'm going to start this morning by just reading the biblical text that we're going to like soak ourselves in this morning. So I am reading from the Passion Translation, and the passage is John 1, verses 1 through 5. In the very beginning, the living expression was already there. And the living expression was with God, yet fully God. They were together, face to face, in the very beginning. And through his creative inspiration, this living expression made all things, for nothing has existence apart from him. Life came into being because of him, for his life is light for all humanity. And this living expression is the light that bursts through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish. Pastor Tracy taught us last week about how this first chapter of John is a prologue. And I want to start there this morning and ask, what is a prologue? What does a prologue do? What's it there for? And to help me with this, I turned to my personal resident literature and theater expert, Andrea Rumble Moore. And she told me when I asked her that prologues are there to set the scene. They explain events that happened before the main story begins. They show us what the nature of reality is for the story to come. They prepare for the story by showing us the context that that story will be set within. And she said, it's kind of the equivalent of priming your canvas before you paint. You're going to tell a story, first you set the scene. And this is what a prologue does. And I find this really fascinating to think about as we look at this first chapter of John. This is how John wants to set the scene for the story that he will tell us about Jesus, the Son of God, the Christ. He goes back, just like Inigo did, to the beginning. And he sets the scene from the dawn of time, from the very beginning. I think about how those words, in the beginning, would have immediately, for John's first readers and even for us today, brought to mind the first words in the book of Genesis, which also tells us the story of the very beginning. So John chooses to lay his scene in this way by speaking of the living expression, the Word, there in the very beginning. And he says, this Word, this Logos, this living expression was with God and was God. Was face to face with God in the beginning. And here's the other thing that truly strikes me about this prologue. It is written in poetry. John wants to paint the backdrop, to lay the scene, and he does it with poetry. A biblical scholar that I read this week spoke about this first chapter of John as being exemplary as poetry of that period. That it's written in simple language, but is a beautiful, beautiful poetry that is included in anthologies to show us what poetry looked like in this time when John was writing. I love his choice to use poetry here. And I want to show you why I think it's so important. Why poetry? What does poetry do that other forms of writing, of communication, can't do? Right? What is different and unique about poetry? I would say to you that poetry, by its very nature, allows for mystery and enigma to live and breathe entwined with the concrete and the mundane. It allows for mystery and enigma to live there right along with the things that we see as ordinary. The art of it goes beyond the limits of linear intellect and causal calculations and evokes a deeper, richer, more ineffable expression of what was, what is, and what yet may be. Poetry lets us speak of things that we know not fully of. And yet we do know that we glow when we come near to them. How would it be possible to talk about God in the beginning face to face with the Logos, who is also God, in terms that are plain and concrete and graspable. No, I love John's choice as he set to write this story, which is real beyond what we can comprehend. He started with a poem. I find it so beautiful because I think that perhaps the best way for us to understand God's act of creation is to imagine an act of poetry. This is how John puts it. And through his creative inspiration, this living expression made all things. For nothing has existence apart from him. So imagine this with me. The Trinity spinning face to face in an eternal dance of love, chose in the beginning to form a world, a galaxy, a universe through their love, through the expression of their love. To make all things through the creative inspiration of the living expression, the Word. Through the poem, the song well known to the Trinity, they gave voice to all that we now see as reality. All that we see as this universe, they gave voice and it came into being. And here we are. And here is the beautiful complexity of scientific realities that we have discovered to be true. And here is the sacred dance of the seasons, the skies above and the soil below. Here is the beat of our hearts and the love that both comforts and grieves us as we humans walk the face of this earth together in all of our blundering and brilliant, devastating and healing, awful and lovely ways. How could John possibly use anything other than poetry to talk about how life came into being because of him? For his life was light for all humanity. And this living expression is the light that bursts through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish. I love that John describes everything as coming into being through the Word, the living expression of God. It's an amazing picture, speaking the universe into existence. Do you ever stop and imagine that? Being a musician and a music teacher, I think about sound a lot. And I love to teach my students about how sound is produced by something vibrating. Our vocal cords, the strings of the instrument, the friction caused by a thunderclap, or leaves rustling together. Just take a look at the piano that we have here in our church. Come and take a little field trip with me. So I want to show you how the piano. So I want to show you how the piano makes sound. So come along with me. And have you ever looked inside of a piano before? It's awesome. We've got all of these strings, right? And underneath, way down there, you can see the hammers that come up to hit the strings. And so a piano creates sound by the strings vibrating when the hammers hit them, right? But here's an awesome thing. The strings will also vibrate if I use my voice to create vibrations in the air that are going to hit the strings, and then they're going to echo back the vibrations that I have like caused to hit them. so just watch. It's super fun. Can you hear it? It's like a chorus of angels, honestly. Right? So all sound that is ever made is created by something making a vibration, and that vibration makes the air shiver and vibrate as well. And so then that vibrating air travels into our ears, and there's tiny, tiny little hairs inside of our ears that feel the air moving like that, and they like send a signal to our brain that sound is happening. Like, so that's how we know when we hear something. Inside of our ears, there's hairs telling us that vibrations are being felt. But what's amazing is that the vibrations aren't just there by themselves, like they interact with all of the things around them, and when they interact, they cause sympathetic vibrations. Most of the time, like most things that vibrations hit don't make a sound that we can hear, but the piano strings are sensitive enough that we can actually hear them responding to the sound that I was sending to them. So awesome, right?
Oh, cool.
Okay. Thanks for going on that field trip with me. Through the magic of technology. So just thinking about that, about that sympathetic vibration that happens. Imagine with me the resonance of the song of creation, sung by the living expression at the dawn of time. Can you see like the brush strokes of creative inspiration as everything that we see? Everything that we know, that's how it came into being. Can you feel today, this morning, in this moment, your heart beating and your breath rising and falling with the same vibration pulsing within you? The life that we live is the life given to us by the source of all life. What beautiful mystery that we are the children of God's heart, that we are born out of this living expression of the love within God at the beginning. This is the mystery of mysteries, I think, that we are all formed by the song of the one who is the living expression, the ultimate source. Ephesians 2:10 says the same, that we are God's poema, the poetry of their heart and the artwork of their hands. Our very lives are God's artwork, God's poetry spoken into being and given in beauty and love. If this is true, and our lives are all flowing from the same source, I do ask you, friends, how can we possibly see ourselves as separate from one another? When we are all joined by the same life that is the light for all humanity, How can we see ourselves separate from the earth and all her abundance and beauty and travail? I truly believe because of these things that we are all connected in many ways, seen and unseen. All our lives are woven together in a symphony of life. And more, I believe that we all carry the reverberation, the echo of the song of God's creative inspiration within us. So as we live our lives, we are invited to sing our songs of creation as well, in the resonance of God's love which created us. Every created thing also has the capacity and the inspiration to also create. Honestly, everything we do in life is in some way a creative act. We are always making things and thoughts, ideas, relationships. Every choice I make contributes to the song of my life. The dissonance and the harmony all form a song together. The sorrows and the joys, the times of chaos and times of peace, they weave together to make a song. And they weave together with each of your lives to tell the story of humanity. And there's something important to note here. You know how they always say, like, our voices are powerful? I think that's true, and here's why. The life within us is, if the life within us is the reverberation of God's voice echoing from the dawn of time, then when we speak, echoes of that creative power are there in our voices. So we must truly be careful in how we use our words, like James, the brother of Jesus, wrote in his letter. When we use our words to tear down rather than build up, it brings chaos and destruction, especially right now, in this time, when we're all feeling a bit raw and vulnerable. Let us be careful with our words. With great power comes great responsibility. Let us choose to build others up. Let us speak words that echo the life-giving love of our source. You know, the final thought in these opening verses of John's poetic prologue is this: light will burst through the gloom. And this living expression is the light that bursts through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish. Friends, I need the light to burst through my gloom. You too, I think. The world needs light to burst through its gloom. And we are part of that. We share in God's life, John says. And their life is the light for all humanity. We all carry a reflection of that light. Life flowing through every particle of creation. Christ flowing through every particle of creation. I see God's loving actions in creation as a poem of life for the universe. And I love that John, as he sets the scene to tell the story of Jesus the Christ, chooses to paint that scene using poetry. There's something about poetry and any kind of art that helps us to touch mysteries that are beyond what words can say, that can allow us to draw near to the life-giving source of all creation in a way that's different from where our minds can go on their own strength. So, this morning, I want to invite you all to participate in creating some poetry. Whether this is a familiar thing to you or a totally new and different thing for you, I invite you to give it a try. So, I have asked Dave to play some music for us. And here's what I want you to consider. Write, or just think in your mind, maybe 3 words that resonate with you this morning. Or maybe you write 3 sentences if you like to use a lot of words, that's okay. But they don't have to make sense to your brain. I want you to put down something that's in your heart. What words are resonating with you right now? What within you is resonating in response to that life-giving, living expression from God flowing to you this morning? We're going to take 3 minutes, and I just want you to settle in and go for it. you would like to share the words that you've got, you can do that in the comments. If you don't want to, that is totally cool. You can keep them for yourself to meditate on and let God open them up further to you as you go through this week. Why do we breathe? Our chests rising and falling, drawing in the life oxygen from the air around us, the air feeding us, keeping our light shining from our eyes, from our lives. We live with the life we are ever being given. We live with the life that is Christ in us, the hope of glory. And it is Christ that is giving life to each one of us on this planet, giving life to the universe, which is ever expanding. We all live with the same life. We all breathe with the same breath. We are all part of the living expression, the Word made flesh. So one more time. In the very beginning, the living expression was already there, and the living expression was with God, yet was fully God. They were together, face to face, in the very beginning. And through his creative inspiration, this living expression made all things. For nothing has existence apart from him. Life came into being because of him, for his life is light for all humanity. And this living expression is the light that bursts through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish. Amen.
So good. Thank you, Terry. A couple of announcements before we go. First one is Restaurant of the Week is at Copa 82 in Downingtown. So I'm seeing a couple of arms go like this, like woo woo. So it must be a really delicious place. So everybody go there this week. It's such a wonderful thing that we're loving our neighborhood restaurants fearlessly. I love that we're doing this. And the second thing is we oftentimes once a year during the Lenten season will do something that is called temple work. And it's a 40-day journey through our inner person. And it's such a powerful, powerful thing to journey through. And it was done by our former pastor, Pastor Bob, who passed away in 2015. And we still continue to do it. It's such a powerful journey to undertake. So take a look at this. makes me want to go hiking and do temple work at the same time. So it starts next Sunday, February 21st. If you're not able to start then, it's okay, because it's online and it's kind of an open, moving sign-up. So, and if you started Sunday, February 21st, it ends on Good Friday. And finally, our food pantry, we just wanted to let you know, our food pantry is open. And please, if you have a neighbor that needs food, if you see somebody that is in need, if they don't call us, you call us and let us help them. We're about to embark on doing sunshine boxes where people can come pick up boxes. We have a lot of things in the works with Deb Labrado and Rhonda Maples. So please stay posted for that. But just let others know that we have a food pantry with lots of food that we are just so wanting to give out. So Richard Rohr, in keeping with what Terry was teaching today, I read this week, and he said that every breath that we breathe in is a reenactment of the moment of creation when God breathed God's own breath into us. And every breath out is a reenactment of creation and breathing out the life that created. I love that. Because what that does is bring God into every moment. Because you have to keep breathing. And even as we're breathing, just sometimes to pull in and to remember God's own breath breathing into us. And that same creative power breathing out into this world. So what I pray this week is that we would take and we would see the poema of God in ourselves and in this world and in one another. So let's spend this week breathing in the words, remembering the vibration, the echo, the life of God, and that our call, every one of us have a call to breathe that life out into this world in every way possible. So God bless. Have a great week and stay safe. We'll see you.